is £9,995. You can't ask fairer than that.
Worth every penny.
Absolutely. Shall we see how you got on with your lap?
Let's have a look.
Let's have a look at Jonathan Ross in the reasonably priced car.
2, 1, and
Certainly the first man in a suit in the reasonably priced Leon.
The helmet looks nice. Look at that speed. Yeah, I changed gear.
Hold on, what are we saying?
It's easier because I don't actually care whether I do that well. But it's harder because
really?
the cars seem to drive a bit differently when you go fast. It's not like driving. Normally I'm used to taking the kids to school and occasionally going to the local supermarket.
That's fast, Jonathan.
I thought that was quite fast. It's in the rain.
Like this, very much in the wet weather. But look at that magnificent turn.
Wasn't.
And then this bit, I think I have to go around here. And
You look ridiculous.
I look like a Star Trek fan.
This is the first man ever to get lost on the track.
It's raining.
It's got white.
Look at that speed there. I was going about 30, 40 miles an hour, though, I
I
reckon.
don't know where the camera's here, so this time go down to third, go down to second.
Oh, the synchro's gone.
I couldn't,
There's a turn.
A bird flew past.
Oh, look. That's quite speedy. Now, okay? These are the times of the people that have been on the show so far. The Steg 146, well, you know, racing driver, tiny little brain. JK 148, I did 150. Now this is the wet times, okay? Steve Coogan 153, Ross Kemp 154, Harry Enfield on a dry track, 2 days and 1 hour. Now, Jonathan Ross, your time is, and I'm afraid I'm going to penalise you 2 seconds for plainly cutting the hammerhead there. We all saw that.
What are you talking about?
You got lost, you cut a corner.
There was standing water. The glare almost blinded me. You're lucky I'm still alive.
Do you think I care?
No, but you're lucky.
2 seconds, no arguing, and it is 1 minute. You did it in 55. It's 57, and that's not too bad.
Actually, 2 seconds. So now I'm ranked number 6th in the world, is that right?
You are ranked
Somewhere.
somewhere in the world. Now, everybody, this was Jonathan's timed lap that we've just seen. Who'd like to see some of the practices that he had? Let's just have a look at that, shall we?
Cool as a cucumber.
Well, that was fun. Curiously, I appear to have stalled.
Ooh, another one.
Here we go again.
I thought it might be faster.
You see, a car like this likes a bit of off-road action.
I think it was fantastic. Ladies and gentlemen, Jonathan Ross!
Now, we've already established that the S-Class is pretty much the ultimate plutocrat's runabout. In fact, we reckon there's only one company that could beat Mercedes, and that's Mercedes. But even they'd have to go some, which is exactly what they've done. Meet the new mother of all limousines, the Maybach 62. Suddenly, the S-Class seems a little bit, well, small. And a little bit cheap, too. Jeremy's cost £87,000. This costs £281,380. But before you rush out to buy one, I went to Germany to try it out for you. Mercedes sell 100,000 S-Class every year. But those sort of numbers are not for the Maybach. Oh, no. 1,000 a year will be plenty. So we are breathing very rarefied air indeed. If the S-Class really is as much car as anybody needs, how are people going to be persuaded to pay 3 times as much for another car? I suppose it's got to be in the details. I mean, the wood. There is the option of the black wood. They call it piano wood. It's made by Steinway. And then there's the soundproofing. The wheel arches are lined with a special fibrous textile. And elsewhere around the car, there are microfiber tiles. Whatever they are. But the result is, it is spookily quiet in here. In fact, I wonder how fast we've actually got to go before there's any noise to back up the only other evidence I've got that we're moving, which is scenery flashing past the windows. Manfred, step on it, please. Thank you. Right, we're doing 150, no noise. I know how fast we're going because I've got a speedo up there along with a clock and a thermometer. And isn't that just the ultimate control freak's gizmo? I think I can hear something. Not sure. I think they're just moving the scenery faster. It's boring speed. 250 kilometers an hour is about 155 mph. And noise? What noise? I'm starting to get the point of this thing. In order for Mercedes to set a new standard in limousinery, they had to revive the old Maybach brand. This was Germany's answer to Rolls-Royce and Bugatti in the 20s and 30s. And just like the Maybach today, they were very, very big cars. But then they were mostly taken up with bonnet, with a tiny little cabin bolted onto the back. The interior space was actually pretty pokey. This, though, well, yeah, it's huge and very long, but most of that length is taken up with providing interior accommodation. 62 stands for 6.2 metres long, and they must expect customers to be as tall as they're rich, though the chauffeur is hardly left perched on a packing crate. Oh yes, and at the front, this is the world's most powerful production engine, and I think it's running. Yeah, there's heat coming off it. It's running. Passengers cosseted in what begs to be called the salon can gaze into the heavens or dismiss them at the touch of a button, thanks to a photoelectric sunroof. I don't know, nearly 300 grand, and it does look a bit sedate on the outside. But maybe that's just the northerner in me complaining. I mean, if I designed it, I'd really let people know that 300 grand was coming. It'd have fins, a glitter ball, neon, big mahogany TV cabinet, that sort of thing. The actual driving experience might be as relevant to potential owners as how to change the oil, but, well, it'd be rude not to. This is insane. This car is truly enormous, but it can get to over 60 miles an hour in 5.4 seconds. That's thanks to a 5.5-litre V12. 550 brake horsepower, 900 newton meters of torque. That's the important one. I'm not going to bore you by telling you what torque is if you don't know, because I can't explain it. But I tell you, 900 is a lot. It really is a lot. Even up here, at the top of the motoring pile, you can buy optional extras. Not admittedly mats and alloys type stuff, but you can have a walnut dividing panel to separate the help in the front. That's £20,000. On the cheaper side, you can get an outdoor speaker system for 1,200 quid, so you can shout at the peasants. Oh, and that photoelectric sunroof, that's 10 grand. What you do get is a personal liaison manager, or PLM. Your PLM, by the way, is another extra with the car, but you don't pay any more for it. You don't ring him to book servicing so much as call him. He'll get you Madonna tickets or move the Eiffel Tower 3 feet to the left because it's shadowing your Maybach. That kind of stuff. You'd be in Sicily before you finish playing with all the toys. I mean, essential executive equipment. 2 types of drink holder, remote DVD. So, is it better than a roller? Well, yeah, of course it is. It's huge. But it differs from a roller in the same way it differs from Ferraris. Those are both cars that kids have pictures of on their bedroom wall. This isn't. This isn't designed to bring a smile to the whole world. The Maybach is designed to bring a smile to the faces of the people who can really afford one. That's a very different kind of car. But the whole effect does begin to sink in after a while. In fact, while I'm here, I might take advantage of the facilities, and there's a quick call I really need to make. Hello? Is that Mr. Dainty? Good. Headmaster, Sharman's Cross Junior School, late 70s. Excellent. My name's Richard Hammond, Mr. Dainty. You may not remember me. Class 1A. Mrs. Levy's class, yeah. There's a few points I'd like to take up with you, actually. Just thinking back to those days. A few things you said. Yeah, you might remember. Amount to nothing. That was it. Go nowhere. That's me. Short bloke. This is the first one in the UK, so please get in, climb in, have a look around, help yourself. Go on, in you get. You haven't been eating chocolate or anything, have you? Nothing on your fingers or your shoes? They're clean. Yeah. Actually, if you're feeling a bit broke, there's a cheaper version, you know. Maybach 57, and it's only 243,780 quid. That's not bad. 25 grand deposit, which does hurt a little bit. They look after you. Don't break anything in there, will you? Please don't break anything. They look after you, though. When you go to the factory, if you're agonising over colour, you know, sometimes to have blue or red, they actually have a series of domes in which they can recreate the light from anywhere in the world. So, like, you live in Mombasa and you want to know how a blue one will look, they can go, Mombasa light, there's your blue one. Looks
you know
good.
what I've just thought of?
No, Jeremy.
280,000.
Yes.
I think that's pretty good value.
Right. Because...
No, really and truthfully, think about it. If you were to buy a house, particularly in the southeast of England, you don't get much for 280,000. Certainly, it won't be this big, all right?
No, probably not.
Furthermore, the owners of the house you buy will take the curtains with them. This comes with curtains included in the price. How many houses do you know of that have got central locking?
None.
Or double glazing? Well, some have. And leather seats already there, and TV sets.
This is true.
And electric windows. I've never been in a house with electric windows, ever. And, come and look at this, in a house, very easy to commit suicide.
Yes, it is.
Look at this, okay? It's working this one out. There's a button here to close the boot, because obviously you can't be bothered to do it yourself. So if you just put your neck down like that, okay? Press the button and...
Hi, Jeremy.
It detects me and goes back up again.
Jeremy, how did you find that out?
I like to thoroughly road test a car.
That is thorough, isn't it?
You know, I
Very
don't like
thorough.
to just go for a bit of a drive around Germany. I like to get it tested.
Trap your head in the boot. So,
Exactly.
in fact, it's safe and a bargain.
Precisely.
Amazing.
This week's Insider Trading News, and last week I showed you how you could buy a brand new Ford Focus for under £10,000, and we know that you can buy a brand new Suzuki Liana for $9,995.
Reasonably priced car.
Reasonably priced car. Well, Rover have entered the fray, and they are now competing head-to-head with those cars. The Rover 45, they're bringing out a limited edition, the Spirit. That car normally is £11,650. But you can go and buy that car today for £9,903.
That's even more reasonably priced than our reasonably priced car.
It is indeed. So we'll see who else responds to the challenge. MG are also knocking 15% off some of the models. So something like an MG ZT, which is the hot one, the 75.
The 75, yeah.
Yep, that car normally £21,150. You can pick that car up now for $18,284. That's £3,000 off.
That is a lot off. It's still in Impreza territory almost.
Yeah, it is. Different kind of car, but loads of fun.
Yeah.
Now, I've got a personal gripe. If you have to replace your own tyres, have to pay for your own tyres, chances are you'll go into one of those specialist tyre and exhaust fitters. They advertise, you know, prices can't be beaten, this kind of thing, national networks. Well, I've got a feeling maybe they can. So I did a little bit of homework this week, and I phoned up Quick Fit.
Yep.
I phoned up 4 of the branches, and my mate next door's got a 320 diesel BMW, so I thought I'll use that as an example. Phoned up, they clearly have a very accurate pricing policy, because the first place I phoned, they told me it's £587 for 4 tyres, fitted with that and all that kind of stuff. OK, I thought, phone another Quick Fit. Same price, 587 quid. Next one, 580, next one, 587. So I thought, well, I wonder how much more it would be to go to a BMW dealer, because at the end of the day, they don't specialise.
Yep.
So I phoned my local BMW dealer. And what do you think the price was?
Well, I mean, I'm kind of suspecting it might be good, but I would have imagined BMW franchise dealer, it's going to be a lot. I'd have thought, you know, 6, 7, maybe £1,000, big money.
Yeah, £420.
No.
Including that and fitting, £170 cheaper than Quick Fit.
And you've kind of got the security that it was fitted at a franchise dealer. I don't know if that makes any difference, but...
Well, it's BMW trained technicians, they know their way around the car, so I thought, well, OK, we'll try some other places. I got the price down a little bit with some of the independent tyre places, but the message is very clear. Don't assume that the franchise dealer is going to be more expensive than some of these Quick Fit places. Get a couple of prices and negotiate between them.
Shop around.
Save yourself 170 quid on that one alone. OK, but how about this for Deal of the Week? Vauxhall Omega 2.2 CDX Auto.
Big car.
Big car, £22,500 if you went to buy that car. List price, £22,500. But there is a dealer in the UK that is currently selling a brand new unregistered car for £16,000.
16? That's an enormous saving.
£6,500
For a big old
off.
car.
Yep, 30% off list price.
But that was just one. But does that mean if there's one...
There is an old adage, if there's one out there, there's going to be more than one out there. So I was offered one car, but I'm sure that if I dug a bit deeper, I could find a few more.
That is a very big saving on a very big car. Nice one.
Look at this. Look at this. Serious car. This is a Bentley Arnage T. It was built with Volkswagen money, but it's still very, very British. And you can tell that when you step inside, because, look, this is all loose, and the key is very slow motion. But, you know, the doors on Westminster Abbey don't fit very well. Nobody seems to care about that. And that's the thing about Bentley. They have a different approach to everything. Most of the engines in today's big cars are 21st century fuel-efficient tree huggers. But the 6 3/4 litre V8 in this Bentley can trace its roots back to 1959. The trees wither when they hear it coming. It's big, Brunellian, and unbelievably powerful. A few years ago, when Bentley was still independent, it tried to kill this engine off. But when Volkswagen came along, they brought it back and added a couple of turbos for good measure. So what does it feel like, Ben? All that power and torque? Well, you know what it's like when you're sitting outside on a hot, thundery summer's afternoon, and it's like you can feel the weight of the sky. It's like an intangible presence. Well, that's what it's like driving an Arnage T. If Hollywood were to make a trailer for this car, I know how it'd go. Bentley. Fear beyond your wildest dreams. In a Bentley, no one can hear you scream. You're constantly aware that if you were sitting in this car at a zebra crossing and you revved the engine, anyone actually on the crossing would be sucked through the radiator grille and into the engine. Just driving along now, you can feel it hoovering up leaves and small stones as it's going along, eating the tarmac. You probably think there's nothing to be scared of. You probably think you can handle it, like heroin. But look, I mean, I'm going 60 miles an hour, just a little cough, and we're doing 70. And then we're going 80. And now we're doing 90. And I'm starting to feel drowsy because it's so relaxing as we go past 100 and 110 and 130. And it isn't only fast in a straight line. You ever wondered what Blenheim Palace would look like going sideways? Well, I'll turn the traction control off, and you need wonder no more. You couldn't do this in an Audi or a Mercedes. Driving the Bentley is like riding a brontosaurus, bareback. Actually, make that a T-Rex. Hold on to your camera, man. What did you drop the camera for? Told you it was a frightening car. So what we have here then is a 3-ton car that can do 0 to 60 in 5.5 seconds. A stately home that can power slide. Bentleys are supposed to be sporting, but this is manic. This is magnificent. I therefore don't mind all these fiddly switches and this loose centre console. If you want perfection, buy a Mercedes or marry your accountant. Without a doubt, this is my favourite of all the luxury barges that we've seen tonight, even though there are a few things wrong with it. First of all, it suffered from total brake failure during the filming of that item. Secondly, David Beckham's got one. And thirdly, it costs exactly twice what you'd pay for an S-Class Mercedes-Benz. But, as we can see from this mathematical formula here, omega carry the 1, it is exactly twice the car. No, it is, really. The only thing that remains now for us to do is to find out how fast it goes around the track. These are the times we've had so far. The Westfield is leading, 1 minute 23 seconds. The only problem is the Westfield weighs exactly the same as one of the indicator stalks in this. Let's see what happens. Over to you, Mr. Stig. Here he is, and he's off. Building up the 645 pounds-feet of torque and heading down to the first corner. That's so fast. Through the hammerhead, the Bentley is struggling. It doesn't have a limited slip differential. Look, it's wet. Oh, it's just spinning away all the power on that unloaded wheel. Unleash the turbos and off down to the follow-through. Corners to go now. Bacharach and Carpenter's Curve. 123 to beat. There he is. How's it going to go? Look at that! And across the line in 1 minute 40 seconds. Put a W there for wet. Now, that's not particularly fast, I admit, for a car, but it is very fast for a cathedral. Which it is. God, I love this thing. I absolutely adore it.
Right, on last week's show, we had the multi-million-pound, fully tricked-up Bond cars in the studio, and they were fantastic. And they set us thinking, and we invited you to send in your ideas for us to build a cut-price Bond car on a budget. And I do mean a budget, 300 quid. And we've done it. And this is it. I can't say we used all of your ideas, because some of them were frankly a bit scary. But we gave all the good ones to our own cut-price Q, Ed China.
Hello, how you doing?
My, you are a tall one, aren't you?
Yes,
and,
Agent
he's
003.5.
Thank you very much. He's created this. It's a Rover 800,
It's
mate.
a gentleman's car.
It is, in British Racing Green.
The only colour we can
That's
have.
very apt for Bond. If you're wondering, by the way, where everyone's gone, they're over there. They sort of backed off. But don't worry about us. We'll be fine over here where the dangerous stuff is. Right, talk us through it in a
Well, I
cute
think
way.
the best thing is to get inside, first of all.
Okay.
So I'll open the door for you.
Ordinary door handle, that doesn't trigger
Absolutely
anything.
normal, yeah,
then.
completely standard Rover.
This is all right in here, actually. It's not bad.
Well, again, it's a standard Rover dashboard,
Yeah.
but if you look next to the handbrake, we
Okay.
have our first gizmo.
Oh, like another handbrake.
Well, another handbrake. You'd think
Okay.
that, of course. I mean, that's the idea, of course. Now, the thing is, if you can imagine the scenario,
Right.
you're driving along, mind your own business, just
Yeah.
been down to the shops, whatever, and suddenly, maybe an assailant is behind you.
Right,
And they're,
badly.
they're giving you a bit of grief and a bit of
Yeah.
road rage.
As
So
happens.
the first thing to do is try and shed them. So if you were to push the red button there,
Right, what happens?
well, we're going to shed thousands of balls behind us.
Okay, I'm going to press it now. Here we
Give
go.
it a go.
Oh, my word, what happened? They've got
Balls everywhere.
Look at that! Now, that'd see him off.
Well, obviously, normally you might want to use maybe boiling oil, fish fingers, that
That'd
sort
be
of thing,
good.
but balls are good.
too. Now, how did you make this, just briefly? I mean, what...
Well, it was
what's-
actually Auntie Maud's panic button.
What, the red button is?
That's right. I mean, she'll be okay for a couple
So
of
she
weekends.
presses that and a flat, loads of balls everywhere.
Everywhere.
So, I mean, and this is a bit of bike cable, so these are things you could build at home.
This is absolutely, yes. And kids, try this at home.
Right, so we've
Well, the
thrown
thing
balls
is,
at
now
them.
we've annoyed them.
Yeah.
So now the chances
They're
are
cross.
they're going to be shooting at us.
They do that.
Yeah, and you see, I suppose we need protection from that.
We
which
do.
Of course, is the next gizmo.
Right, so we need... Oh, you're putting
I
goggles
think I'm going to
on.
put goggles on, because this is going to get dangerous now.
Right, OK, well, we need a villain to do this. Jason, where are you, mate? Oh, look at that! He does look actually quite scary.
So it's very big and very scary.
I am quite... Right, so he's miffed.
Okay,
And he's going to shoot at us.
Is he shooting
OK,
at us?
far away, buddy. Far away. Oh, my word! I'm pulling my lever. Look at that! I'm safe!
Fantastic.
That does look a lot like a tea tray.
Well, it is actually a tea tray, but it's a bulletproof tea tray.
They're the best sort.
They are. It cost us £6.50.
Charity shop, John.
Indeed, charity shop came with a trolley as well, which was quite nice.
Oh, well, fan. Well, I'll retract that. Now.
Excellent.
I like
Okay.
the way the spoiler goes, huh?
Well, now, the thing is, obviously now we've actually annoyed them even further. but
They're
we've
really
averted
gonna be
the bullets. Exactly. So now, fantastically stunning manoeuvre, handbrake turn, you now have them in front of them, you have to blast them.
I'm facing them now.
You're facing them, you're going to blast them out of the sky.
Right,
Oh, the road
OK.
even.
So we've got guns.
We have guns. But, of course, James Bond would use, you know, nasty little gizmos and little buttons. We've got something a bit more classy. Fuzzy dice.
Fluffy dice.
Fluffy dice. You've
Well,
got
these are
those
the
fluffy
trigger.
dice. Yeah.
This fires guns. Well,
That's
we need a
fine.
target, and I think Jeremy...
Indeed.
Oh, look. Perfect. The perfect target.
I'm not the target.
Right. You've
But
got...
I have got you the perfect target, Blofeld himself. Ready, everyone?
Oh, look at that! Perfect! Right, he can have it. Yes! This is a very good job. They're paintball guns, sort of, they're hidden completely in there.
They are. They're hidden inside the wings.
And
We've got...
triggered with these.
That's right. Well, the way it's done, because most paintball guns are actually done manually,
Yeah.
had to make kind of like a plastic finger and used a Metro windscreen wiper motor as a kind of a cog to actually flick it around. So that's how they
plastic
become...
finger.
Yeah, well, you know.
Very Bond. Right, well, that's him pretty much sorted, I'd say. What about this fella here?
Well, he's a bit more tricky. I mean, obviously, normally etiquette would suggest you should ask him politely to leave. But if none of those work, then obviously what we need to do is vacate the vehicle ourselves.
Right.
Because we have another little trick up our sleeve.
Oh, right, something awful's going to happen.
It is. What we need to do is grab hold of this.
That seat was wet, Ed.
I'm sorry. You're
Very
enjoying
nice.
yourself.
Right, I've got a doorbell.
We have. It's a brass doorbell. It's no expense spared, obviously. So, I think we're going to need to get a little bit further away from the vehicle, actually.
Exactly how far, Ed?
Well, a little bit more than that, probably.
So how dangerous... How
Possibly a
dangerous...
little bit more than that. I think
Right.
that would probably be...
Can I be as far as the audience? Because
That might be not a bad idea. To be
Right,
honest.
so, and then it's this button here.
Yeah, and we ask him one more time.
Would you mind leaving my car, villain? No,
Apparently
right.
not.
Have this.
Exactly.
Fantastic, and you as well were wonderful. Right, so we've got rid of him.
We have.
You've got one more trick left.
We have.
for
Well,
me,
we've done
kid.
violence. I
We
think
have
need
done violence.
Fire and brimstone next.
Nice.
And
I
no
like the
Bond
sound
car
of
would
that.
be complete without kind of some kind of rocket.
Okay, now this is well, this is a drain pipe, Ed.
It is a drain pipe.
Yeah.
Yes, you're right. It's very well spotted. That.
It's something we can have a go at home for us.
Well, it is. Well, what you need, of course, is our fuel cleaning missile.
Right. Okay. This is
And,
some sort of rocket.
Of course, also, there's always the opportunity when you're driving along, you might
Yeah.
actually have to run one of these. So, of course, you need a windproof lighter.
Oh, you've thought of everything. So I've got one of these. You've
You have
got one on
of
your
these.
side.
I have
haven't you?
indeed. So what you have to do
Right.
is open this little flap.
Open
here,
this and put this
Pop
in
it in,
here.
light it, I'll
Like
go around the other
so.
side and
I've
do
got
the
to put the
same.
goggles on as well while you get round. And I
That's
just
not a bad idea.
very neat. I'll put these on. I don't think Bond wears these generally.
Safety first and all that.
I think mine are much smarter than yours.
I like my green tint.
Windproof. That's genius. Ready? Okay. Right.
I'm going.
Really going to do for him.
I think we might have to stand back at this point.
I'm going to stand back a
Over here,
very
quite
long
quickly,
way.
in fact.
And I'm afraid we have to end it there. We've got a lot of tidying up to do here and everywhere, frankly, and we've got to get some flowers and some cushions and some potpourri because we've got some girls coming on the show next week. But don't worry, we've also got a 5.5-litre supercharged V8 Mercedes. So, we'll see you then. Good night.
More motors this Tuesday and again next Sunday at the same time. Well, up next on BBC Prime, the will to win, just one of our human instincts.